And again,
Yes.
the windows are so tinted we can't see inside exactly how many people are there. We still don't know if this is a man or a woman driving or if there's anybody with. We do know that this started probably about a half hour ago. It was over on the west side of LA. The Tesla, which we don't know if it was stolen or not, but it was in the carpool lane, and the officers came up on it. It did not have a sticker that authorized it to be in the carpool lane. So they tried to get out of the lane and pull it over and give him a citation. And that's when he took off and just kind of kept going. He has not been driving tremendously fast. We've seen him cross over 75, 80 at one point when he was passing by one of the big rigs. For the most part, he has been sticking right to where you see him right now, at right about 60 or 65 miles an hour. He's been staying in the far right lane. He was on the East 105 for a while, then the South 605, back to the East 91. As we mentioned, he just passed Harbor Boulevard about 2 or 3 minutes ago and coming up on Pomona and exit 30B. But this is where we stay right now, 2 or 3 units behind him. We're wondering what the plan is for the CHP now. They've been able to get up right behind him. You see 4 or 5 units there. We thought at one point they might be going to pit him as he was getting off the highway. We've seen other units taking off, like the one you see there at the top of the screen. They turn off their lights and sirens and kind of disappear into the front there. But he just continues on, doesn't seem to be trying to take any evasive action, and has not been driving crazy on the freeway, which is good for all the oncoming traffic.
And for the safety of the community, of course, we'd love to see this end soon. And as a viewer, I'm sure you'd love to see the spike strip end this pursuit as well. But the reality of the situation is this could go on for a very long time, depending on how much charge is in that vehicle. This is always a different circumstance than a regular car that has gasoline in it. It could be, if it was a full charge, it could be 300 more miles and out of our TV viewing area altogether.
And we want to welcome everybody to the KTLA 5 News at 11 o'clock. I'm Rick Chambers along with Courtney Friel and Kai. We've been following this pursuit of a white Tesla. This is now on the East 91. We're over by exit 31 in the Anaheim area. Gil Levis up in Sky 5. Gil, what can you tell us at this point?
Well, Rick and Courtney, the driver just passed the 57 freeway on his way to the 55 freeway. And Courtney, you were saying he could be heading out as far as Palm Springs area. That could possibly happen here for sure. Now, the vehicle still slow speed, 60 miles an hour. CHP still talking about trying to get a spike strip into position. They really want to do that sooner than later, but they have to find the right spot. The 91 freeway here has multiple lanes, and with the 55 freeway coming up, we'll see if the driver decides to go south on the 55. It basically has 2 options here, east on the 91 or south on the 55. But at this point, let me see what the speeds are. He might be speeding up here just a little bit. A tad bit as we approach that interchange up ahead. But so far, it's hard to tell who's in the vehicle other than the driver. We had a closer up shot here. We'll try it again here with the night sunlight to see if you guys could maybe see.
Yeah, it's tough. We see a lot of reflection there. It's the windows are tinted just enough, so it's hard. We can see kind of the front display on the dashboard, but it's hard to tell if anybody's in the passenger seat.
Okay, yeah, so definitely the driver, what I can see of the driver looks very casual, as if he's out for a drive here, a casual drive, but 3 units of CHP in trail here of the vehicle and the night sunlight of the airship overhead lighting it up as we approach that interchange. We'll see if the driver, there might have been a chance right there for a spike strip, that unit in the center divider there, but it looked like there was a little bit too much traffic and maybe too far out in the lanes there. So we'll see. In this lane, he'll be committed to the eastbound 91, I should say. But at any point here, he could just jump over. He or she, I should say, could jump over into that gore point and take it. But we'll see what happens as we transition here. Looks like it's going to be the 91 East.
Yeah, there just wasn't enough space to get the strip, if in fact that's what they were going to do. You see another officer just parked there on the side of the road as well. They really need some space so that the officers that are in the cars behind him don't hit the same spike strip before the officer is able to pull it back onto the side of the road. But they may try something like that. Again, the traffic is pretty light as we continue on the 91 here. And you can see there's not much between him and the police cars. Now we see a couple of cars moving off to the right, but The pursuit has been pretty quiet at this point. We're still sticking right around, well, now he's accelerating up to about 80 or 90 miles an hour. But this has been the exception. For the most part, he's been right around 60 or 65.
And oftentimes in these pursuits, we see the driver racking up violation after violation. So depending on what's going on inside that car with this situation, maybe the driver knows that, and for when he or she is ready to pull over, there will just be 1 or 2 infractions versus many.
Yeah, Gil, we don't get the impression that the driver's impaired in any way, because the driving's been straight ahead, pretty much in the same lane.
Yes, exactly, Rick. And I can tell you, Rick and Courtney, that the driver's going to have some traffic up ahead. It looks like up near Weir Canyon there's a backup. It looks like it's about a mile long. We can't see with the camera right now, but I'm looking out the window, and there's definitely brake lights up ahead. So the driver has Imperial Highway coming up here in a short distance, and beyond that it's going to be Weir Canyon. It's a long stretch to Weir Canyon, but in between Imperial and Weir Canyon, that's where that traffic is building. I can't tell if it's going into all the way to Corona or not. It looks like it's not, so it might be due to the toll road that's up ahead, the 241 toll road. That could be the reason for the backup, or it might be construction. So I'm trying to see out with my eyes to see what's there, but definitely brake lights up ahead in about a mile and a half.
Yeah, and of course that's when another decision has to be made. What do I do? Do I get there in traffic and let the police pull up on me, or do I try to make a cut to the right or to the left and move around the traffic? This is when the adrenaline for both the driver and the police that are following elevates considerably, because you don't know what frame of mind the driver is in right now, and if they start having to make decisions on a quick basis, things can change very rapidly, and the police behind have to be aware that this guy may suddenly pull off onto the side. You've got other drivers who may get involved in all of this. So whenever he gets into heavy traffic, the things change dramatically as far as what could happen within a split second.
So here's the situation here, Rick and Courtney. We're going to see that traffic here in a short distance in the fast lanes there. In fact, it looks like the carpooling, that's a fast track lane, and there are these tall sticks that separate the freeway from the fast track. That driver will have an opportunity to jump into those lanes if he decides to. Those poles are flexible. People have been seen driving through there, jumping into the fast track lane at times, but it will likely do damage to the vehicle if that happens. But for now, the driver looking not impaired, driving at a slow rate of speed, relatively slow rate of speed, 60, 65 miles an hour, and we're coming into that traffic. It looks like it eased a little bit, so it might have been maybe an accident up ahead, or CHP maybe was running a block there on the freeway, but the traffic is lightening up just a little bit here as we come up to Weir Canyon, but we'll see what the driver decides to do. It definitely has heavier traffic in about half a mile. You
mentioned if CHP was running a block, they wouldn't do that to try to slow down the driver, would they?
No, you know, I don't think so. I think it was maybe, it looked like it might have been some sort of CHP. They run a traffic brake to clear lanes. That could be what it was. It could be Caltrans. I do see, you know what, I do see something up ahead here on in the fast track lanes. Might have been a minor fender bender. We'll see that here in a second, but that might have been what the reason for the traffic. But it has started to lighten up here, and as we approach the toll road.
And keep in mind, this is all over a carpool infraction. This is not a criminal, as far as we know, fleeing from the scene of a crime where no reason to suspect that this guy could be armed or that anything nefarious has happened. This is a Tesla. We believe it's the Tesla owner. We don't know if this car is stolen. No reason to believe that it is at this point. But this is just a driver who is not wanting to stop for the CHP, who tried to pull him over for being in the carpool lane without a sticker. That's all we know about this person. As far as we know, there is just one person in the car. It's hard to tell with the tinted windows, but the guy's been driving like this for the better part of a half hour now.
It does look like the car's slowing down, though.
A little bit. That may have been because of traffic. I don't know. Gil, is there any reason the car would be coming to a slower speed right now in Yorba Linda?
Yes, I don't know if you noticed in that fast track lane I was
Yeah, I
talking
saw
about, I saw something there. It looked like maybe a traffic accident, but really, Courtney, you know what? I think they did slow
think
down
they
the
got the
traffic
front
to
wheel.
get that spike strip. Yeah, the officer threw a spike strip out there. I'm not sure if it got it or not. He made the attempt, threw that spike strip out in front of the
looks like it
vehicle,
did.
might have caught it. So let me come in tight and show you. But right after that happened, the driver slowed down quite a bit, so he might have got that front tire. We'll find out here in a second. But the driver definitely, 32 miles an hour in some of that traffic, but it is not real heavy right now. It's moderate traffic, but the vehicle's coming slower and slower now as we approach the Green River
Yeah,
area.
and I can tell you, Gil, that alerts are going off inside that that person needs to call Tesla and pull over immediately.
And as Courtney can attest to, it does not take long for that tire to go flat.
No, I've had 3 flat tires in the past year in that car.
And so many of these pursuits, once they do flatten the tire, and it looks like the left front is flattened, oftentimes these drivers, and we can kind of see the arm of that person there through the window, oftentimes they will run on these tires, and then we'll see the rubber bouncing out to the side, and then they'll run on the rims for a while, and that'll be throwing out sparks. We haven't gotten, obviously, to that point yet, but it does look at this time that one of the tires has been flattened. You can see the brakes being applied heavily at that point.
Yeah, he ramped up the speed a little bit here, up to 50.
Yeah.
Oh, there goes the cap. So the outer cap came off. Definitely that spike worked. It looks like the rear as well has been hit as well. So a successful spike strip at this point. We'll see what the driver does, if he's going to, just give it up and pull over, or pretty much wreck the car.
Yeah, now we have to worry about, can he control the car with 1 or 2 of the tires flattened on this. We saw the rear end kind of wobble a little bit when that cap came off. So certainly that person behind the wheel is realizing that as they accelerate the control of that wheel, and now we see the rubber on the back wheel coming off. So it's not going to be a great deal of time before he finally pulls over and realizes he can't keep driving on 2 wheels.
Oh, wow. A wise decision. Oh, but look at this. He's going to still move a little bit more. He's going to try to get as far away as he can, but that's it. He's going to come to a stop. Oh, driver coming right out and walking right up boldly to those officers. It's not a good idea. We'll keep a medium shot here so we don't show anything. But wow, very aggressive move by that driver. Not yelling at the officers there, putting his hands around. He is basically surrounded. They're going to take him to the ground, and that's going to bring it to an end. No one else has come out of the vehicle so far. The driver boldly coming out and getting right in the officer's faces. Not a smart move, but at this point they have him in custody. They're going to check the vehicle for anyone else in there, and a little bit of a struggle with the driver still.
Well, we were wondering if the driver was impaired or intoxicated in some way. That may in fact be the case, may have been some sort of mental issue, or he was just angry at something that had transpired 45 minutes ago over on the west side. Hard to tell at this point, but coming out like that and moving very quickly up to the police, not a great idea. We have seen some problems in the past when that happens. Thankfully, the CHP able to move around behind him, kind of outflank him and then take him to the ground, and now obviously they seem to have him handcuffed. They'll stand him up, bring him over to one of the cars after they kind of rifle through his pockets and his pants legs to see if he's armed in any way, and then get him up onto his feet and probably bend him over the hood of the car and search him a little further. Other CHP officers there on the left of your screen moving up to the car. They've already kind of cleared it with their guns drawn. Now they're looking in the back and in the side, just making sure that nothing else has been left behind that they should have cleared out of the car in the first place. But Gil, again, this is simply all of this over a carpool violation.
Absolutely. You would think you would just give it up and pull over. Your car would not be damaged or impounded. Now it's going to be. And look at that. There's still a little bit of a fight there with that. That driver. He's wanting to talk to the officers there a little bit, being a little aggressive. So hopefully he'll just calm down and get into the back seat there. But oh, look at that. Not good.
Looks like he's trying to get away.
Yeah, they may end up forcefully putting him in the back of the van there, and hopefully they don't have to hog tie him or something like that and slide him onto the side seat. The other officer going to the other side may assist in bringing him across the back seat. We'll see if that happens in a couple of minutes. But we're not sure exactly what the problem is between the suspect and the officers, but obviously he's not wanting to get into the back seat of that patrol unit right now.
And the
Not at all.
the
Three-
good news
yeah, go
here
ahead.
is that this did end without anyone else on the road getting hurt or their vehicles getting damaged.
All right, Gil Levis and Sky 5, we appreciate that. Let's move on now in the 11 o'clock news.